With all things archery and shooting, just got back from outside shooting these strings and test them out. And I'll tell you what my results are. Now these results are just my interpretation of them, my personal choice. So don't take this for gospel, but these are what I'm rating them at. And we're going to rate these strings on 5 different things. Actually 7 different things. I'm shooting these 5 different strings on my old mountain stitching recurve bow. This is a 56-inch AMO bow, 50 pounds at 28 inches, and at my draw length I'm pulling 54 pounds with it, okay? We tested all of the strings on this bow, and the arrows we used were, these are the arrows we used, okay? These are 11/32 Port Orford cedar. All right, this one weighs 671 grains. The arrows weigh between 670 and 680 grains roughly. Spine weight in these arrows are 55 to 60 pounds. They're 31 inches long. They have 160 grain point. They have 5-inch parabolic feathers on them. They have cresting on them. They have boning super knocks on them, okay? And we use the same arrows on all of them, all right? On all tests. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this ones we got first, all right? First was the factory string that came with it. Well, the factory string, this is the factory bush that came on the bow, is a D97 string. And in my results, the factory string velocity had an average velocity of 156 feet per second. Accuracy was 5 inches at 20 yards, so it wasn't that great. The bow was fairly quiet. It wasn't very loud, but it was not as quiet as the rest of this. This is I would say I rate the quietness on either fair, good, or very good. Okay, so for quietness, the string and the bow shooting arrows, this was fair. Okay, it took 21 twists of this string to get it set to the 7.5 inch brace height that I use on all the bows. 21 twists. Okay, let's see. It is not wasn't pre-stretched. I shot it 100 times and I had to keep adjusting the brace height on, so it wasn't pre-stretched. Okay, the quality of the string. The quality of the string I'm also going to rate as fair. It's not that great of a quality, so the quality is fair also. Okay, but it is the factory string that came with it. Most thing hurt this string the mostly was this little bitty 5-inch serving area, which is completely useless if you ask me. Okay, and it had a couple issues with its tag ends on it that weren't cleaned up. You know, came from the factory that way. That doesn't look very good. So, and it just wasn't as quiet as the rest of the strings were. Speed-wise, the way I rated the speed from 150 to 155. I rate is fair. From 156 to 159, I rate is good, and then from 160 and over, I rate is very good. Okay. So the speed on this was 156 average feet per second. So the speed on this was good, okay? All right. All right, next string will be Grizzly Jib string. This was probably one of my favorite strings to shoot. I really like this string a lot. It was the quietest of all the strings. Very, very quiet. You could hardly hear it go off. There was literally no bow shock at all compared to this string. I was getting some bow shock with this, but there was none with this string at all. This string does has an 8-inch serving area, which is not too bad. I prefer a little bit larger, but 8 inches is not bad. Okay. The average velocity of this string was 158 feet per second, so put it in the good range. That's with the puffs and everything else on it. It was probably so quiet because you use yarn puff there. That's why it was quieter than the rest of them. And I think without the yarn puffs, it might be a little bit faster, but with the yarn puffs, it ran 158 feet per second on average. Group size was very good, 3 inches. Okay, so the way I rated the group is I went from anything under 3 or under would be good, would be very good. 3 and under is very good. 3 to 4 is good, and 4 and over is fair. Okay, so this is very good accuracy on this one. Okay. So it came in right at 3 inches on the money. Okay, so very good accuracy. And we have how many twists? It took 9 twists of this string to get it set to my brace height. And this string is pre-stretched according to Grizzly Jim in his webpage, he pre-stretches all his strings. He also installs the puffs on it there for you as well too. Value of the string. This string is $35.47. Remember, that's just transferred from Euro dollars to American dollars. So he sells them for $31 Euro, which is $35.47 American. It's the most expensive string of all of them, but I think the quality's there. I think it's well worth the money, so I'm gonna give it a good rating on that. Very good rating on that. It was pre-stressed, like I said, yes, and it was the quietest of all the strings. This is the quietest of all the strings. Okay. Now we're going to come to shatterproof archery string. This is probably my most favorite string next to the Grizzly Jim. If I had to put the two together, they are so close in quality and performance, it's hard to choose. I'd probably have to take I'd probably choose the shatterproof because they are a local U.S. company. Nothing wrong with Grizzly Jim string. It shoots well. It's an excellent string. I didn't mind waiting for it. But this string, I had it from Shatterproof in a couple of days. It got to my door quick. He made the string for me, same as he did. It's just the shipping time is the biggest difference. This is overseas, this is local. But I mean, their scores are almost identical. So let's go over the Shatterproof string, okay? Shatterproof string, first off, they have the largest serving area of all the string, which is 10 inches, which I really like, okay? And this came with the real beaver skin silencers, okay? He also put on his loop, he added a top loop on there that says top, so you know which one's your top loop, which is little things like that make a lot of difference. Okay, the string is pre-stretched. Okay, I only had to do on this one here, it only needed 3 twists. I mean 2 twists. This one only needed 2 twists to get it to my 7.5 inch brace height, which was, I mean, basically it's put on there was right where I need it. I just did the 2 twists to get it exactly. So 2 twists. Okay, accuracy, it ran about 3.5 inches, a little bit less than the Grizzly Jim, but they're both very, very close accuracy wise. So 3.5 inch accuracy group. The quality of the string is very good. It's, I mean, especially with the 10 inch serving, putting the top on there, the way the string's made, it was fully waxed correctly. Very, very good, very well made string. Okay, value of the string. The string's $31.99. I think it's well worth that $31.99 price for a custom string. It is, so custom Fast Flight, so definitely worth the price. All right, and quietness of the string. It wasn't as quiet as Grizzly's Jim, but it was still quiet a little bit. It was still quite quiet. It had the tiniest bit of hand shock with this string, but I couldn't feel any with this one. But this one here, I mean, it's almost negligible how much hand shock it was, and the quietness between these two were really, really close. So I mean, it was very, very quiet. Okay, so all right, so that's another good string. Now let's move on to the 3 River string. Now the 3 River string, this is supposed to be a Fast Flight string also, but this was among the slowest of all the strings. It had an average velocity of 151 feet per second, so it's only fair on the velocity. That's 10 feet, almost 10 feet a second slower than this one, and almost 8 feet a second slower than this one, and it's almost 5 feet a second slower than a factory string. So it's really not an upgrade if you consider this string cost $31.99 and the factory string was faster. The quality of the string is not that great. It's got a lot of tag-ins to it like this here. There was not much wax on the string when I got it. I had to really wax it. And it's got a very small serving area. As you can see, the serving is actually starting to come apart on this string right here. So the serving is actually starting to come apart on it as well too. And now remember, each one of these strings have been shot 100 times before I started this test. They've all been shot to break in for 100 times, and then this was shot in the test. And that one's already starting to let go of the serving on it. It was, and also it wasn't that quiet even with these cat whiskers. It was still had a distinct thump to it. It was probably the loudest of the strings that I have out here. Okay, it is. It took 14 twists to get it to my 7.5 inch brace height, which is quite high. I like this to be around 8 or 10 twists. Okay, it was not pre-stretched because after shooting 100 times, I had to keep readjusting my brace height, so it wasn't pre-stretched. Okay, quiet, it wasn't very quiet at all. I only give it a fair quality on the quietness. Okay, and the quality is only fair. Value $31.99. I have to say, I don't think this string's worth $31.99. Believe it or not, the $17.99 Amazon string outperformed this string, and this string fell way below even the factory's other 2 strings. So this was the worst string of all the bunch. This 3 River string. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it panned out on mine. And maybe one you get from Three Rivers is good for you, but the one I shot here is just not really good. It was the worst of the strings. Okay, so the $31.99, I don't think it's worth the price. They call it X99 Fast Flight, and no one in Three Rivers can explain that to me. I don't really think this is a Fast Flight string because it's shot just way too slow. I mean, average 151 feet per second. That's not good. All right, so that string's out. Now, the last string we tested was the Amazon string. Now, this string actually surprised me. Even though it's not a Flemish twist like I originally asked for, it is a D97, but this string was quite fast. It was just as fast as the Shatterproof string, which was also, okay, this was 160 feet per second, same as the Shatterproof, which it really surprised me. When I was shooting the string, I thought it was slower. It seemed slower, but the chronograph doesn't lie. So this thing had an average velocity of 160 feet per second, which is very good. It's only a $17.99 string. Okay, the quality of the string is not so great. It's got about a 7-inch serving, which is not too bad. But as you can see, the same problem with the Three Rivers. The serving's actually falling apart right here. So I mean, that's not. I mean, all these are shot, like I said, 100 times to shoot them all before we did this test. And also your serving on your endless loop here is coming apart too. You see here, coming apart here on both of them. And beside this not being a Flemish twist, it was an endless loop D97, so the quality of this thing was only fair, okay? Comparable to this, both fair quality, okay? Twist, it took 13 twists of this string to get my 7.5 inch brace height, a little bit better than this. Wasn't pre-stretched. Quietness, I mean, it was pretty quiet actually. I gotta say, it was almost as quiet as these two strings here, but just about. There was no hand shock, but it was quite quiet. Maybe that's because of the bigger cat whiskers that came with it, or just the way the string, the design's not a Flemish twist, but it was very quiet. Value-wise, money-wise, for $17.99, would I recommend it? If it wasn't for the serving coming apart on here already, I would be an outstanding buy, I think. But because of that serving, I really can't give it a good recommendation. I mean, it did perform well, but the quality of it is coming from China is something to be desired. So would I buy the string again? Probably not, just because of the quality. Now, if I was to take this string and reserve it, I think it'd be fine, which I'm probably going to do because I did like the way this string performed. So I'll probably reserve it myself and probably no problem. But it's just, the quality is not there. It's right below the quality of the Three Rivers. Okay, so. And again, the average velocity in this was 160 feet per second, which really surprised me, I'll be honest with you, really did. I thought it was a lot slower when I was shooting it. I think I said so in the video, but when I traveled across that chronograph, it was much faster, I had one of these speeds at 169 feet per second, which is the fastest of all these. But as I did with all my speeds, my 10 shots, I threw out the highest velocity and the lowest velocity and averaged the 8 remaining. But this string, it did surprise me, but it wasn't for the quality. I definitely recommend this string, but I can't. So, let's start limiting the strings now, okay? This string we're going to have to eliminate because I can't recommend that string. Three Rivers also, I'm sorry, their quality has really gone down the last couple of years. I don't know what's going on with their people over there or their products. I mean, I bought several things here the last few months. I'm getting issues with almost all of them. I mean, even my bow that I ordered from them is supposed to be there in a week. I didn't get it for a month. And so I don't know what's going on with Three Rivers. I don't know. Maybe it's because since the sun took over, things have not been that great there. I mean, they still got the best selection on the internet you can find. You need something, they've probably got it. Their prices are a little bit higher than most people, say higher than Lancaster or a couple other people or Bowhunter's Warehouse. But they will have what you need. It's just their customer service and their tech people they a little bit need some help with that way. They're not as good as they could be. All right. All right. Factory string. I mean, for a factory string, it performed fairly well. I mean, except for that little 5-inch serving area, it wasn't a bad string at all. It shot pretty well. So, all right. Now that leaves these two. Okay. Now let me talk about these two. This has been a hard decision for me on these two. Okay, which one I like the best? These both, if I were to compare the scores, are almost identical scored wise. This string did give it a little bit more quiet, and this string was a little bit more faster. So I mean, what's the trade-off here? Quiet or fast? The biggest thing I would think between these two strings would be, this is coming from Europe, and Grizzly Jim. I love Grizzly Jim. He's a great guy. I wish he was here in the States, and I would definitely order another string from him. It's just there's a long wait. It took me almost 4 weeks to get this string, so it's quite a long wait for this string. Shatterproof string. He's local. I'm not local. He's in the States, and He does custom strings. He's got a great website. You can actually go through and put in what kind of bow you have, your draw length, kind of honeydew, everything else, and it'll actually ring up and tell you exactly what kind of string you need. D97, B50, B55, whatever you need. It'll tell you right which string's recommended, and then you just fill this simple form out, send it in, and you'll have your string in less than a week. So I have to say, unfortunately, I mean, it's really a tough decision between the two, but I'll have to give the nod to Shatterproof Archery. So in this review, on my personal preference and way I reviewed it, Shatterproof Archery was the winner. But again, you really can't go wrong with any of these strings, except maybe I probably would not buy a Three River string again, and I definitely won't buy a Chinese string again. Well, maybe I might buy a Chinese string again because it was pretty good. I just have to reserve. But the Three Rivers I would not buy again. But the factory string wasn't bad. But of all the strings, the 5 we tested, Shatterproof came out ahead. Barely squeaked in ahead, but he did. He makes an excellent string. I really like the string, and this will be the string that'll be on my bow this season when I'm hunting. Okay, so big shout out to Shatterproof Archery and all the guys out here. You know, Grizzly Jim, Three Rivers Archery, Amazon. I mean, shout out to everybody, but Shatterproof Archery. In this test, you came out ahead. I want to thank you. Okay. All right. Well, this has been Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting. If you like this video, please leave me a comment down below, and please click that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. All right. Also, stay tuned for my new video. I got more videos coming out, so be sure to click that bell next to that subscribe button so you'll be notified of newer videos coming out. And I want to thank all you guys for your support. And my channel is growing faster than I thought it would. I'm really surprised, actually. And I want to thank everybody for watching, and just thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. All right. All right. Until next time, this has been Todd, All Things Archery and Shooting. Ciao.